You know what I love about my show? I love when I have reoccurring guests on, because I sort of, you know, what's going on with them, what's happening with them. Well, I have Regi back again. Of course, we know what Regi is doing. Regi is kind of keeping an eye on people that are getting married, being married, getting a divorce, all the above. This must be fascinating. But I have to say one thing. He was married at one time, but he's definitely not married now. And you're happy about not being married, actually, at the moment.
Yeah, I think you encapsulated it perfectly. It's called being happily single.
Being happily single. Well, I'm single too, so you got two really happy people here.
See, but the difference between you and I put happily on front of mine. You just said I'm single, so I don't know if yours is happily single.
I'm happily single. Oh, no, I'm happily single. Oh, no, my husband passed away in 2004, and that was, I was married 29 years, and I had the most beautiful marriage. I'm not going to say 24 hours a day, it was perfect, but I think, you know, I was pretty close, nearly a 10 marriage. I did very well. And I had 6 stepchildren at that.
29 years is a long time.
Yeah, 29 years is a long time, and but I had the most beautiful husband in the world. For me. He was married twice before, fine. That obviously wasn't beautiful for them, but for me, beautiful.
So it sounds like he is big shoes to fill. That's what it sounds like. For the next person, there's big shoes.
Well, that's why I've never had.
I
don't really have a relationship going. There's one guy I do know, of course. We always have that one guy. You know, there's always a woman always has that one guy, sort of kind of there. You
gotta have
that one guy. But no thing of marriage, and I love being single. I love being on my. I'm not afraid to be on my own. I love this this pandemic thing that they're talking about. Doesn't bother me at all. But we're going to talk about that with what's going on right now, right?
Yes.
Got a lot of things happening. You just said to me you were asking 10 questions.
I did. I did a thing on Facebook.
Okay.
Because I have a topic that I was leading up to. The topic is, it's over. I'm saying bye-bye. Talking about relationships that we've discovered it's just not working.
Just not working. We're talking about men and women. It's bye-bye men and bye-bye women as well.
And so I think because of the pandemic, it's a make or break time, because we get to discover how strong and what is the strength of our relationships. So I did 13 questions leading up to this topic.
Wow. So
that they can get an understanding of where their relationship actually stands.
Right today.
Yes.
Goodbye. I guarantee a lot of it is goodbye. Is it?
You know, I would like to think in my mind that if it's not goodbye, at least these questions are making them think, so they can have a dialogue. Yes. So we figure out now, how do we strengthen what we have?
Do you? I believe that the worst thing that a relationship can have is not communicating with each other. Is that kind of where it kind of starts? This one's not saying this, and this one's not saying that, and then this one gets more aggravated, and this one doesn't understand.
Yeah, there's a dichotomy there, actually, because people try to communicate, but there are those who don't know how to communicate. Oh. And then there are those who don't communicate. So that's why I say it's a dichotomy, because a woman communicates differently than a man. A man typically communicates through his body language.
Yes.
Women typically communicate through their emotions and how they feel. It comes out of their mouth.
Yes.
Our body language, we want you to kind of
you want us to come to
figure out what we're saying without saying it, and our body language typically is.
Okay, have women made men afraid of what to say or how to say it or what to do? Because that seems to be, you know, if I say it that way, I'm going to aggravate her. If I say it this way, and that's maybe, is that why they use the body language?
Not necessarily. Men are not just natural communicators to begin with, so it's got to be pulled out of us. Now that's not to say that all men can't communicate. No. But on an average, most men aren't great communicators.
They're not great.
And I tell people all the time, communication comes from this word called communion. So communion in religious sects is considered something sacred.
Yes, very sacred.
Right?
Yes,
it's sacred.
Communion,
and they will always say, when you're in that atmosphere, before you take this, you should first examine yourself.
So before you go in to say anything, or before you go into
Examine
this,
whether or not it's worth the while to say. Should it be said or should it not? Because once it's said, you can't pull it down.
you can't take it back. You know, it's funny you should say that, because the other day I was saying, you know, when women, or men, but mostly women, when they ask a man a question, oh, well, where were you out? You went out with a woman? Well, he's not going to turn around and say, yes, I was out with a woman and I had a great drink and a great dinner and I had a wonderful time. He's not going to answer that. The first thing that's going to come out of his mouth is no.
Well, because we're warriors, so we're going to become very defensive. Our defense mechanism is going to be because we are warriors by nature.
You just accused me of something that I haven't actually done, or even if I have done, you're not ever going to find out.
And now you're trying to figure out, well, why are you getting angry at me? What's the problem? Well, you just allowed my defense mechanism to arise because of how you came up. Listen, a woman can get a man to do anything in the world she wants him to based off of how she packages it.
Remember this? Listen to this carefully.
She can. It's got to be packaged properly.
So if she barks at him,
he's going to bark back.
So
but if she says,
hey, sweetheart.
Yes.
Hey, darling.
You know, I love the way you make up the bed. When you make up the bed, baby, you are so sexy. That man will make up the bed every single day. But if she says, you never make up the bed, I am so sick and tired, he's never going to do it. It's just packaging it.
Do you know that's so funny, because you are so 100% right that when you give a compliment to a man, he is there every single second. What can I do for you? How can I help you? But if you keep knocking him, he turns around and says...
You're pushing him further.
And he turns around and says, I never do anything right.
That's right.
How many times have you heard that from your husband? I never do anything right.
What can I do right in your eyes?
Yes.
Is there anything that I can do right?
I've chosen you as my wife or girlfriend or live-in or whatever the case may be in this day and age. So you've got to really... You've got to treat him how you really want to be treated. And how do you want to be treated?
That is so powerful. Treat him how you expect to be treated. Because, again, that's the law of attraction. Whatever you want, you become that, and it will come to you. So you treat him the way you want to be treated.
Wow. So with these 13 questions, which ones do you think was the most powerful one coming back from all of these women or men or whomever you...
You know, there were so many that we got a great response, but let me tell you a few here. That's why I brought my phone.
You brought your phone so we could actually see.
Because I wanted you to see the questions that we asked, and here they are. So for example, I asked on this one in particular, does he take you out without you prompting him to take you out? Is it something that he will just naturally do? Yes, no, maybe.
Okay. What was the most of the answers?
A lot was, we have to prompt him to do it.
Really?
Yes. Who calls and who texts more? You, him, or is it equal? Or the two of you don't really call or text much at all? That was a question. So, who calls more? Women typically say they do.
They do.
Because women are more of a communicator.
Yes. So was it that way?
It was that way.
So it was that way.
But I tell people all the time, and men in particularly, it takes 2.5 seconds to text and say hello. 2.5 seconds.
But even just to... I've done that actually with this guy that I see, and I'll just say hello. I just send him a message, hello.
Just to let someone know you're thinking about them. That means a lot.
That's all. That's all it is. And especially a man. I don't know if a woman needs that as much. I'm not sure.
Women do.
They need it as much.
Women want to know that
they're thinking about them and not somebody else.
Yes, it really? They do. They want to feel. They want to feel that they're given attention.
And they're wanted.
Yes.
They've got this man, and they're putting all this stuff into this man and this woman. Do you think that a lot of women misunderstand because of how a man communicates, of how that man actually really does love that woman?
I do. I think there's a miscommunication. So when we talked about that word communion, that word comes from two words: common union.
Common union. Okay.
So now, because you don't figure out what is the common union, so we end up bucking heads. The real communication begins when we figure out what's our common union. We meet in the middle, and then we allow that to be our launching pad, and we go from there.
Yes.
Because we understand that there's a commonality.
Yes.
And that's what we build from. We build from our common union. What's the thing? What is the thing that grabs both of our attention?
And that we like each other, and we both like doing this, or we both like doing that, or whatever the case may be.
That's our launching pad. Let's build from there, because now it creates good energy. Energy is movement.
Now, what about, and this happens a lot of women have their girlfriends, and a lot of girlfriends, oh, that guy's no good for you, or why are you dating him, or, you can do better than that.
Yeah.
What effect does that kind of have on a relationship with a woman?
I'm not an advocate on listening to the crowd.
Okay.
I don't teach
so
that
women
you should listen to the crowd.
Because sometimes
a lot of
times
that crowd that's telling you that they're single and they can't even get a man, so how can they tell you what you can do with your man?
Well, that's how I feel. Because sometimes I look at them and they say, "Oh, Ninon, you can do much better than that." And I'm thinking, well, how do they know I can do better than that? I mean, they're not me, but maybe they are. But they haven't even got anybody, and even if they have somebody, they're mad at their husband.
Exactly.
He's no good, and he's this. So I guess what I'm saying is then if you listen to what their situation is, then what comes out of their mouth, you've got to kind of attach it together and understand it.
It's what I call eating the meat and spitting the bones out.
Okay.
Take what you feel is specific for you, that's going to empower you. And then not everything that's being said is probably going to empower you.
Okay.
So you got to learn how to eat the meat and spit the bones out. Some things you don't even need to hear or listen to. Just shun it all together.
Now, do men do the same thing with their, with their men?
Of course. It's guy talk.
They got to talk. So it's guy talk. Because I don't even know guys do that, but they do.
But you won't hear. You don't typically hear guys just as a whole saying, "Oh, she's not good for you." You don't typically hear that unless it's somebody who are very, very close.
And then you probably ask them and say, what do you think of her? And
and it's going to be done in a different way, in a whole different manner.
I remember when I first started dating my husband. I mean, I was taken to 3 different men. And thank goodness they all like me.
Who wouldn't like you, Ninon? You're such a likable person. Who wouldn't like you?
I don't know. I was very young then, and I was very, young and foolish.
Listen, and your accent is just... It's going to make anyone melt. Just start talking, Ninon. They're just going to be like, okay.
It's funny, people say this, Ninon, will you talk? Will you say something? And I say, I don't know what to say. Now, you also mentioned something about a documentary or something you've got coming out.
We do. I'm CEO of Connoisseur Entertainment.
Connoisseur Entertainment, I love the name.
I've merged with Action Shot Productions.
Okay.
So I have a partner, so I'm co-partner with Connoisseur Entertainment and Action Shot Productions.
Okay.
We've collaborated to do a documentary based off of COVID-19 and the closure of Las Vegas.
I think I was a little bit in this.
You will have a cameo in there.
I have a cameo in there.
We get to see you. We get to hear your accent.
The accent all over there. And actually, that is my producer for my show that you're partners with.
Yes.
And which has been a great meet for both of them. And this is actually what Vegas Live with Ninon actually does. We bring people together, and sort of we got Regi and we got Steve together. They have created this documentary on COVID-19, which is sort of, Vegas as a whole of what it was and what it is, and will it ever come back?
The most iconic street in the world is actually shut down.
Yes.
And we get to capture that, and we get to show this. Performers are not working, and what is Vegas known for? Shows.
Wait a second.
Ninon, you don't understand how privileged and blessed you are to be one of the few.
I'm one of the only shows. I'm one of the only shows on Vegas Strip, Las Vegas Boulevard, that is still up and performing. I don't even know another show. I know a couple of piano players, but I don't know any shows that are going on.
It's because, listen,
some things happen.
Listen, Steve, you got to move that camera close. I got to tell you why. It's because she has this great smile, and it's her accent, and she's awesome, and she's amazing.
I love him. In fact, I was just talking to you earlier, and I was just talking that I wanted to involve him a little bit more into Vegas Live with Ninon to see that we can, take this a little further and do it. Because what we do is we promote people like you, and we bring them out there, and Steve, who is my producer, he does all the filming and the editing and everything else, so we promote him as well. So, and then I'm sort of got all these different musicians that come in that do not have a platform and they have nowhere to go.
Yeah.
So this is our platform. So with your documentary coming out, we're now able to bring their documentary out. Now, when is it coming out?
Well, it's going to be in the fall. Right now we're in the trailer stage. The trailer is being finished.
Okay.
We're finishing up the trailer. So you'll start hearing the pre-buzz before the trailer comes out.
Okay.
And then after the trailer comes out, then you'll hear the buzz for the documentary. We're doing steps.
And do you have a place to place it yet? I'm thinking of Netflix, Lulu. I'm thinking of everywhere.
Well, fingers crossed. Stephen and I have spoken with somebody who has access to get us on Netflix.
Wonderful.
So, fingers crossed.
Well, while you're talking about that, get Vegas Live with Ninon on Netflix.
We're family.
We're family. Yeah, we're definitely family. Definitely family. So, with this COVID-19, doesn't seem to be that it sort of depressed you or stopped you from doing anything. Because you can do an awful lot on Zoom. You can still talk to your clients. So, you're still moving.
Yeah, one of the things that I wanted to do, and I wanted to be able to say once this pandemic was over,
yes,
was we did a documentary, and I just finished a new book. I just wrote a new book throughout this whole pandemic.
Really?
So
we'll bring that back. Well, you'll be back on again.
Yeah, it's going to be a while before. I want it to actually come out around February for Valentine's.
Next year, yeah, Valentine's. But I want him to come on. Why don't you come on? Maybe once a month, and give the women and the men out there, not just the women. Where do they go now? What do women do now? Women and men. We've got this COVID thing. We got, where are they meeting? What are they doing? They can't go to a bar.
Here's the thing. I think we have to come out of our, and this is for couples, since pandemic has made us come out of our comfort zone, you have to find what your creative zone is. Whatever your creative zone is, be as creative as possible, because you're no longer in this comfort zone. We have now moved into being in a creative zone. So be creative.
You're not a 9 to 5 anymore. You're not getting up, sending the kids to school, going to work, coming back, picking the kids up, making dinner, going to sleep, getting up. That routine is over.
It's over.
It's over. And I don't think it's ever coming back. Google just said that nobody has to come back to work until I think it's 2022.
Wow.
So he's giving them, and I think whoever wants to come back to Google's office to work, they can, and whoever doesn't have to. That's what they're thinking of. We're thinking of 21 being kind of a hump. We're finishing off 20.
Yeah.
2021 is going to be kind of, and then I think they still don't even know if it's going to happen, but I don't think it'll ever be the same.
This is the new norm.
And I love it.
Being creative.
Be creative.
Doing what you're doing.
You've got a chance right now to do that, haven't you? Everybody in the entire world, though, not only us.
Yes.
Two sitting here.
Yes.
It's not just us. It's not just about us, though. Pretty cool. It could be about us, but we're just bringing it out there for you.
We're going to make it about us.
Yes. I love it. I love it. I love it. Listen, how can they reach you, Reggie?
Sure. You can catch me on You can go to my Facebook at Regi, C-R-E-G-I, Rodgers, R-O-D-G-E-R-S. Instagram, C-R-E-G-I-R-O-D-G-E-R-S, that's C Regi Rodgers. And you can go to my website. My website is www.CREGI-Rodgers, R-O-D-G-E-R-S. And I have my great book there, which I brought. Listen, you gotta get this book, The 21-Day Challenge for Ladies, and the book. It's like one is the yin, one is the yang. You can go
yin yang, here we go.
My website and everything is there.
Absolutely amazing. This is amazing, man. But he doesn't realize that he is R. And you know R is?
What's that, rest and relaxation?
No, it's Rolls
I
Royce.
know.
He's my Rolls Royce. We'll be right back with our next guest. Don't forget to go to and subscribe. Go to YouTube, subscribe. Vegas Live with Ninon. Amazing guest. We'll be right back. If you enjoyed the last show we just did and all the other shows, don't forget to subscribe. Vegas Live with Ninon on YouTube. We've got plenty more coming up and our guests are amazing. So don't forget to subscribe. We'll be right back. Vegas Live with Ninon.